the things that we're going to talk about today do really lay the groundwork for a lot of the rest of the things that you will see and your ability to interact with the other things that we announce, right? So the two major things that we're going to be talking about today are the updates that are coming to the Conquest map.
Nice.
And the way that the layout's changing, some of the objectives are changing and whatnot, which is pretty exciting. And then the big one.
Oh,
a feature that I've been working on a little while now. Super excited.
Smite Car 2! Yeah, baby!
Smite 2?
A little feature called Aspects that no one has talked about.
Yeah,
surely.
Yes, Aspects.
Completely new.
Which there, we've gotten a lot of questions about this on the show. There have been some data mines. This feature has evolved tremendously from when it was first pitched internally to do the things that Smite needs as a game.
Yeah.
Right. So we're excited to share with you the version that it's landed on here. Clumsy's been leading the whole thing. I think he's done a great job. And yeah, really excited to talk about the map and the aspects. And we're also going to hit on some of the items, not go super deep into balance, but just hit on what's going on. And then you guys will be able to play.
There were always
in Flash
aspects.
today,
There were never
hopefully,
towns sitting.
the Conquest map and the aspects.
Yep.
And then tomorrow we'll have more new things to announce, and then the day after that we'll have more new things, and yada yada yada.
Absolutely.
So it'll be a great week. I will say we are not probably going to have a lot of time for questions today because we just have so much to get through. We'll take them
Let's
as
do
much
it.
time as we can.
Yeah.
But I just want to kind of pre-warn people, if you're just here because you want to ask a question,
I don't think it's like
maybe
Dota,
today
though.
is not the day for
And you'll
that.
see why.
So,
Can I scummy and self-market,
I'm
do
not
it,
actually
do it.
sure because
I'll
I'm
be
not
streaming later today, and
There
we'll
you
answer
go.
some questions. Sometimes
Shameless self-promotion
ESC,
is what we like to call it. But
Yep.
hey.
And we do have
cartoon?
one thing we were going to talk about before we got into the
If you missed it over the weekend, we had the Founder Series tournament.
Oh,
happen. We
really,
got
dude?
all of our teams that qualified to Las Vegas. We actually played a couple of the round one
I can't believe they're
matches
showing
yesterday.
this.
Triple tiebreakers before we kicked this wild, which was insane. But as you can see here,
Lost
we've
to these
got
shitters.
Food Drive, Team with 5Ms, Team Risks, Borscht, Smoke Break, Mockingbird, all making their way to Las Vegas in January.
Lost to these shitters,
This
and
is
I
kind
lost
of
to
how
these
the bracket
shitters.
shook up, but that's just the start of this tournament, right?
Yeah, this is a double elimination tournament, which is kind of neat. So
Thanks,
in the
Awesome
top
Mode. I
half,
appreciate
we
it,
have,
bro.
5Ms versus Food Drive. Food Drive, great showing from them. I
Oh,
think everybody was
absolutely. I'm on
really
Borscht,
impressed that this
Kurt Balls, so I'm
kind
in
of
the losers
more
bracket for Vegas.
SCC talent, from the past. They've stepped up.
Jiggy?
Like, dude, I did not see all of yesterday's games because I had a thing I was doing with my daughter for Christmas. But I heard that Karmic had like a legacy game. I like what and when I was talking with those guys when they were in the studio,
Z-City,
just, like,
thank you for the prime
really
for 4
awesome,
months.
nice group of guys. Like,
Welcome back to the
I
Founder
was,
family.
I was really
Appreciate it,
pleased to
dude.
meet them and hang out with them as like
This is
people
tight
that I
here.
was new to,
And it would
like getting
say
to
it,
know in the
but
scene.
I don't have
And then
alerts because I suck.
Smoke Break and Team Risk on the other side in the upper bracket. And then starting their run in the lower bracket, we have Mockingbird and Borscht.
Yeah.
I'd F Jiggy. We all saw it, Vio.
Come in January
Yeah.
for the Vegas land.
Hey, Ben, your Baron is COP.
But
Yeah, it was
that's
competitive
pretty
band
much
because he was
all that we
bugged.
had to prep. We've got a long show today, and chat, we know what you're here for. So give
By the
us
way, I would like it
just
to be
1
known,
second.
nobody played
I will
Baron
prep
solo.
Our, handy
Besides one of the
dandy,
Latin American
slide deck.
teams.
It wouldn't be a tight
Nobody played it solo. Apparently, it
with
was so
reveals
broken.
without
couldn't get
a
through.
PowerPoint. So
Yeah,
But
this
then
is-
literally
this
nobody
is
played
not, not the best PowerPoint that I've ever done.
That's a head scratcher.
This
Oh,
was
yeah, we
more-
were talking about your PowerPoints before.
Yeah,
I need more drop shadow.
I've had a lot more fun with PowerPoints in the past, but this time it was just like we just have a lot of information to get through. I'm going to throw some pictures on a page so that we have
fair.
something to talk about.
Cool.
So I think that the best place to start is with Conquest. I'm sorry we're going to make you wait to hear about aspects, but I think that like this is the core of the game, and we need to make sure the core of the game
Here
feels great,
we
and then
go.
aspects are like a layer on top of that,
Yeah.
right? So, all the feedback we've
You guys
received
hear
so
well,
far,
by the way?
Is
it good?
We've heard that there's kind of a few key things that
Should I
need to
turn that
change
more?
about Conquest for it to feel great, right? There has to be more to do.
Yes,
There has to
yeah,
be better
okay, cool.
flow in some areas of the map. There need to be more interesting rewards for completing certain camps or objectives. Not necessarily every camp or objective, but some of them just need something better to do. There needs to be more vision, but internally, we feel like the current duration of vision wards is probably right. I know Smite 1 has vision wards that last longer. Smite 2 initially had vision wards that lasted even shorter, which was not good. We think it's in a good spot right now, but we just could do more to add vision in other ways. And there needs to be a clear emphasis on jungler as a unique role.
I think all of these points are very
Given
true.
that, let's
Next
talk
slide.
about what we're actually doing.
Whole bunch of good stuff.
So in this update, we're
Now
going
I'm
to have
blocking
layout
them.
changes. We're going to have new jungle camps. We're going to have new jungle boss pickups and also jungle camp pickups. There are going to be breakables, which will kind of
Breakables?
running through the map. And there's jungle time.
Sort of like
changes.
jars and
So,
boxes.
a lot of big things. We're going to go through each of these one by one.
Yeah.
Yeah, I had to throw a meme in here. That's about as
It wouldn't be
fancy
a
as I
PowerPoint
got.
without a meme. you know?
Yeah. Okay, so
Now I'm blocking the
complex
text.
layout changes. So red buff was too far away from mid lane. It didn't feel good to run to it. So we've moved it closer to mid lane and improved.
I'll just move
the
around
pathing there.
nonstop.
And
I'll be
we've
ready.
also added a new camp next to it, which is the
So red buff has
Cyclops
been moved
Warrior
closer to mid lane, and a new camp has been placed
Yellow
next
buff
to it.
has been moved
A lot
down,
better for
and a
mid
new
laners to
camp
actually
has
get the
been
red
added
buff
above
because
it,
it's horrible
and
right
the
now.
Harpy camp has also been moved up. So you have the
And then speed buff
Cyclops
is going to be
Warrior
further
camp
back,
above
so it's
it.
a little bit harder to invade.
So this is the first big change.
All right.
And
We're
there's
gonna run
be new
around and look at
camps
all this
there.
in game in a bit.
sure.
Oh, yeah.
But I think it's better
That'll
just to
help
like
a lot.
give you guys the overview.
Yeah, it
of
is,
like
Buzz.
this is everything.
Yeah.
Okay.
You guys can
next.
see it on the map right now.
We've added
I
two
did.
new Harpy camps in the side lanes.
Yes, dude.
kinda by
Those
the
side lanes,
teleporters.
little gold
This
camps are so
is-
stupid.
What we found in our testing is that this has been great because it gives you something safe to farm if you're getting pushed in. So you don't necessarily just get quite as far behind, right?
Yeah.
There's more of a way to get back into the game. So this is like a subtle change
is it
that
alpha?
has made a big difference in our testing, I would say.
Yeah, and
Yeah,
I'll
I
also
remove
say that there's
plugin.
now things on the side lanes for your solos, your carries, your supports to do to not take farm from the actual jungler, which we'll talk about in a little bit.
Exactly.
Yeah, it's really
Sorry,
interesting because
you guys are
just
gonna
by
have to
the
listen
introduction of those
what they
things,
say.
it accomplishes the goals that you've said already for sure. But it also makes sure that like, even if you're going to use the teleporters, let's say to gank the other side, whether you're a jungler or the solo lane or dual lane, you also feel like you get a little bit of like a compensation reward if things don't go well. It's like, oh, you get these harpies, you go through the teleporter, gank doesn't really work out, you get the harpies on the side.
Okay,
Or
it's
even if you
deactivated.
promote aggression. If you do get to the point where you can push the tower, you can even try and
You might have to
invade those
refresh,
ones
but
if you don't wanna
it
go for
should be
purple
gone,
buff if
the
you're seeing going
deadlock
that way. It
shop.
opens up just different levels of like laning,
Yeah,
and different ways to experience
Easier
things
like
on the
side
lanes.
camp harpy farms in the
a
back.
lot of people are saying that they're
And they're reducing
concerned
the number of
that the person
islands
who's
and,
ahead
like,
is just going to invade those and get further ahead. I will say that is not
land
been
and
what
things
we
in
have
the
seen
way.
in our testing. But we're
Make the
always
pathing
open
better.
to feedback, right? So let's try it, see how it goes. We also have reduced the overall number of islands.
No,
in
no,
the
you're
jungle
right,
to
Gold
streamline
Border.
the pathing. There were a lot of just like
They're going to do
random
flash
bits and
tests each
bobs
day
that we
this
got
week
stuck
for the
on.
things they're talking
So
about.
we think that it's better to run through now with the new layout. Might not be something that you really notice, but if you notice yourself getting stuck less, then we have succeeded.
January release, Christ here.
Jungle camp changes. Okay, so our new camps, our Cyclops Warrior camps, are going to drop a new pickup type that is placed into one of your consumable slots.
I think this
the
is cool.
Cyclops camp drops a Cyclops ward, which functions like a normal ward for now. So
Thank you, JD.
there will be a
gonna be
way
a bit
to
of a-
get ward pickups on the map by killing this camp.
Yeah.
So another source of vision without
So
necessarily needing to go back
where
to
the speed
base.
buff is, basically,
And
there's going to
also,
be a
we think
ward
that this
camp.
will
And when you
help,
kill it, you get a consumable ward.
low-level
can drop
games where
wherever
people
you want.
just don't buy wards, and really you have
it
to get
functions the
pretty
same
high
as a
level
ward.
in Smite before people start buying
For
wards.
now, at
Like,
least.
a lot of people in chat are high-level ward buyers,
Oh, absolutely.
but
'Cause a lot of people's
low-level games
complaints
just
were
don't
about
see a lot of
vision.
wards, so just having a little bit more,
Which I thought was a little
free
bit silly,
vision
but-
on the map, right? Yeah, somebody's like, oh, they literally ripped the eye out of the Cyclops and made it into a ward. That's
Yeah, it's
metal.
pretty messed
Yes,
up.
it's
What the
pretty
heck?
messed up, but hey,
kinda
I love
cool.
it, right? It's thematically cool, right?
And the other thing that it says there for now is like, they function like normal wards for now. There's always things that we want to iterate on, so we're really excited to see with all of these new features how you guys feel about them. And
There's some
we're
other
always willing
stuff
to play around. and have some
Without
fun.
spoiling anything, but, like you have to pick this up with your
Then
interact
next,
button.
we have
So the more that
the
they can do
Scorpion
that,
camp, drops a Eye of the
it's
Jungle.
really, I like it. 'Cause
Activating
it
will
actually
ping
incentivizes
all
the fact that we have an
enemy
interact button.
locations on the map once. It also adds more XP and gold, but is harder to defeat. I will say two things. First off, obviously the floor isn't done in this screenshot.
Yeah.
This is just showing you kind of like what it looks like. This is
Another vision complaint
ping.
fix.
It doesn't tell you who is where. So it's not like you're like, oh,
Yeah, so
well,
you can
I
kill this.
see
It's a little bit harder to kill.
this person is in
Use
this
it. It's a
position, just
one-time
like
use, and
somebody is
it
on the
pings
map
all
in
5
this
people on the
location.
map, sort of like a
And we
nuance
have a
ult, but it
video.
doesn't. It
Oh, yeah, I
doesn't
was gonna
tell
ask
you
if you have a little,
play tab.
which
Oh, this was a lot of
person
fun.
is which. And it doesn't do any damage or
videos in
anything.
This
PowerPoint
is
are
a
not great.
real
Damage.
playtest.
This is a real play. Oh, you got to turn the
One
volume.
second. Yeah, I'll full screen it. Boom.
You get the volume.
All right.
Is volume up? Yeah. Okay.
volume's
Okay.
up. All right, we'll let the video play so you all see an example.
All the
They're in that
They're
bush.
sitting in the bush. They're in the bush.
Yeah.
so they just used it, and all 5 were in that bush.
They didn't
You guys
we
saw. They
got
didn't show
them.
who was in the bush.
You can
They're on
flick
the-
They
them.
just showed that 5
And that's
were
important
in
too.
the bush.
So for context, what you saw there is
So
someone used the consumable item.
They
you saw
foiled
the
their
pings going
plan.
off. They're all in one centralized location, which was in that bush by the fire giant. And as Rose
They're
said,
in that
They're
bush.
sitting in the bush.
they don't know.
They're-
They have no idea that we're using
They didn't know that we picked
Got
them up.
him.
They have no idea.
That's great.
You can-
X-Pax,
I love
oh
Travis
my.
says, got him.
So that's another vision
great.
complaint fix.
Yeah, it's
Also,
a
all
really
the
neat,
obviously all this stuff is like
kind of strategic thing.
all the
that
stuff on
is
the
fun.
map that
You
you're
gotta pick
seeing.
your right moment to use it.
The textures
It's
and
been really great in our
the
playtest
models are just
internally, and We're
temporary
excited to see how you
for
all
testing.
interact with it. So another
Foiled
fun
it.
addition to the map. Next, one of the even spicier ones. If we can change the slide. Oh no, not next. I'm sorry. We should go to the next one, but I thought it was the next slide, but it's not. It's later on.
Cool.
Okay. So we've added roaming harpies to the
This is
jungle.
pretty
so up to 2
massive.
will spawn in each quadrant of the jungle. Again, just something to do. Jungle camps are also now harder to kill. Without
need to
the
move their
starter
cams.
item, it will take 16 to 19 seconds on average in the early game. With the starter item, it'll take about 10 seconds, which is similar to how it feels in the current patch. Can you take our cameras off again? I'm sorry,
Yeah,
Chad.
my bad.
Chad is mad at us.
My bad, Chad.
So all the
So,
jungle is going to be a lot
if
harder to
you
kill, and
buy the jungle
the jungler is
starter
going to like
items,
have to
you'll
be the
able to
one
clear jungle
clearing.
camps quickly. If you do not buy the jungle starter items, you will have to invest more of your time into doing it.
Except
right?
I bet mid
At
laners
the
will
end of the
probably
day,
just buy jungle
MOBAs
starter items.
are
It's probably
trading
what's going to happen.
time for resources, right? That's what the game is all about, right? And the investment that you had to put into to get a jungle resource was not commensurate with with each other in the past. So
It
we
takes
think this
16
is
to
gonna
19
be
seconds
a
on
big
average
update for
to
the
clear a
game.
camp in the early game if you
Next.
don't have a jungle starter. That's pretty insane.
Jungle
this
boss pickup. This is the spicy one I thought I was saying. The fire giant.
What does this remind you of,
now
guys?
Also dropped the obsidian dagger, a special type of pickup. It has a limited duration in your inventory, so try to use it before it expires. This pickup can be stolen by the enemy team, so be sure to grab it. It will also be dropped on death.
Spicy.
So
What does it do?
pretty
With
spicy.
all of those stipulations, it's got to be a pretty sick effect, right?
Yes. When used, it deals 500 true damage to the user, but grants 15% more damage and attack speed for 6 seconds. 15% damage and attack speed is huge, by the way. If it were to kill the user, instead revive the user to full health. And they do get the buff when they revive.
So it
for
basically
6
just gives you a bunch of
seconds.
steroids,
That's
but it does a lot of
important.
damage to you.
So,
But if you're low enough, it'll
technically a
instantly
second
revive you
life.
and it will double the effect.
If you time it right, if you try and wait too long and you just get blown up, then
Yep.
you don't get the second life.
That has happened.
There's risk and reward to if you hold on to it or not. And if you don't use it in time and you just die with it, then it's on the ground and anybody else can pick it up.
Yes.
So
for ya.
it is a winner. You know, are you going to risk it? Are you going to try and time it right? It's pretty sick. There's a video. I don't remember what the actual
Yeah, I don't
video
know
is.
this one either.
Let's play it.
Let's
See what
see.
happens.
I think
this
it's
is
just
just an
showing you the
example.
effect.
Okay.
So this just
So when it
Ymir
killed him,
uses
it
this is the
revives him to full
resurrection. I think we
HP.
definitely had some updates.
And then
since
he has
then, but yeah,
the
effectively that's
attack
the
speed and
gameplay.
damage buff.
Yep. You're not going to be using this at full
Honestly,
health.
it's
You wanna
really
use-
cool
I mean,
because
unless you
if
just
you don't
want the
get
buff
if you
when
don't
it's on,
time it
that's-
well
that is
and
still
it
very
kills if they
valuable.
kill
Yeah,
you
and 15%
before you
damage
use
can
it,
be a
Something
it'll
awesome
drop
for
it,
right?
sure.
So
then
The
they
fact
can
that you get
take
the
it,
buff
so they can,
after
like,
the
focus out the
resurrect,
person
you're
who
really
has
gonna be
it.
trying to save this to get that second life.
It's pretty cool.
Yeah. So it's
Could be really OP for
an
split pushing.
interesting
Though.
skill level.
The effect on it's cool as
excuse me,
well.
skill
You guys see the little
expression
fire
moment.
giant above him?
It's not just you get a free second life for somebody, you know. I don't know. It's been really neat in our playtest. So if people like this, you know,
a good question, young
We're gonna
Carlo.
keep looking at more of this kind of thing in the future, but we're pretty excited about it so far. So
What's up,
a
Magic
lot
Card?
of huge stuff so far in Conquest.
I know.
Do we have another Conquest slide, or is that the last?
No, we've got
episode?
more.
Oh, we got more. Okay. Oh, breakables. We didn't talk about
Oh,
breakables
yeah, of
yet.
course.
Oh, but wait,
Okay,
there's
now what does
more.
this
Yeah.
remind you of, guys?
So now around the Gold Fury Pit, there's going to be pots and jars that contain gold that spawn there, which makes sense because that's what a Gold Fury would have. When you walk over it or break it with an attack or an ability, it'll give you a little bit of gold. It's not a lot of gold. Silver pots give you 2 or 3 gold. Gold pots give you 10 or 20 gold. It's just while you're running through the map, it feels good to have something to do. If you're in the area, you can get a little bit
Yeah,
of gold.
and I mean, there's always been so much gold lying in the environments about Gold Fury.
Yeah.
It's time that she shared a little bit, right? So
Right?
just like,
Yeah.
you know.
I like this.
It feels
I
good to
think
just
it
walk
feels
through
a
and
little
not
bit
even-
worse than Deadlock, though, because in Deadlock you have so much movement and it's so easy to get around the map and you feel rewarded for like
Oh, these are good.
correctly getting around.
Fragments of the fire giant's power
Wait.
will fall into the fire giant pit.
This is the
Breaking
same
these will
thing,
grant
by the way.
+2 strength or intelligence, or strength and intelligence permanently. These do have a long respawn time. So a player could end up.
You get increased spirit
10
or,
20 strength and intelligence by the
Gun
end of the
da-
match
oh,
if they're
sorry.
kind of
Strength or
optimizing
intelligence
this.
if you pick these up.
But it gives you something else to.
But you're not going to get a
be
ton.
getting,
Like you,
right? Something else to do.
realistically
We
only ever
found
get
that,
like 10 to 20 by
in
the end of a game.
third-person action MOBA, the way we are, downtime is the enemy. Right? Like you need to have something
like-
to do at all times.
Like as a
right?
soul laner, you're
And,
never going to clear a wave
it's
and
very
walk to
easy
the
go
fire
too
giant
far
pit.
and
You're just going to
overwhelm
lose too much
people with
lane
too
pressure, or
complicated
there's going to be
mechanics,
camps
which I think
up.
some
Or
of the
there's gonna
latest releases
be-
of Smite did in some ways.
You're
right?
going to be
They're really
rotating
fun
somewhere
if
or
you
going
are
to
a super
like
hardcore player.
it's
I think all of
it's
these
really
things just give you something
only
else
the
to change
jungler who's
your
ever
game
going to be
back,
getting
which is
these
nice.
things. I
It
think.
also just helps you like fill the time between rotations. Like if it makes it feel less bad when you go for a gank or you go for an invade and things don't really work out.
This is the one
There are
thing
these
that I'm like,
areas of
it's
just,
it's a
vast
fine addition. I
emptiness
don't think
and
it's
you're
going to
just like,
affect
okay,
it that much.
I almost rather just walk.
But it doesn't
go
make
back
it as
to
much
base
sense as
just to
Deadlock,
speed. It's like, well,
in my
actually,
opinion.
now there's these small like moments of opportunities that if you're keeping
Like,
an eye out for,
because in
will
Deadlock
give
you're
you
constantly running
incremental
around the map.
advantages.
There's not as much of like a
important.
true laning
I think
phase
this
past like
next one might be
the first
actually
few
the last
minutes.
one.
Yes, the next
Okay.
one is the last
Okay.
one for
It's
Conquest.
easy to
again,
gank everywhere.
this
There's no
is on the
jungle
same
role,
topic
so
of
everybody
breakables.
can kind of jungle.
Helpful jungle wisps
So-
roam through the jungle that you can seek out for some quick healing. If you pick up just running into one of
Yeah,
these wisps,
exactly, Bria.
you'll get 1% max health regeneration for 10 seconds, so you get 10% of your health back. So if you're getting pushed out in lane, maybe you're better off trying to find a wisp rather than going all the way back to base sometimes.
Sure. Yeah, I mean, I had this happen like
I think that's
literally
fine.
just in our last playtest. We were running away from a Phoenix siege, and on our way back, I was a little bit scared. Saw one of these, and I felt less scared after picking it up.
Yeah, that'd be
So,
cool on trade. Like the vines from
We think it's all these things combined to
Season
make Conquest feel
9?
pretty good, pretty new, pretty different. We think we addressed kind of the main concerns around Conquest with this update.
Is this dev or?
Yeah.
Okay.
So Isaiah's going to jump into
Fire Giant Minis,
Conquest
yeah.
and Dev just to run around for a second so you guys
I've
can
got
see
it
all
hidden
this.
chat. No spoilers.
I didn't even look. I was like staring at him like,
Yeah,
no,
up to
no,
time,
no,
you're
no.
taking
I didn't even check this side. I was just like, oh,
Look,
God.
we're going to be talking about a lot of stuff this week. Can't spoil it just
Yeah.
yet, but yes, I am getting ready.
At the
pull
same
up
time, I'm like, you know
Conquest
what? Whatever
not
you
just
want
like
to do, I
the
trust.
actual
right?
realistic aspect of it, but it also you're also incentivized to get like breakables and stuff in Deadlock because it's fun. Because if you like have good movement and you slide down like ramps and stuff and perfectly go through all the boxes, like it's just as satisfying. That's not gonna happen in Smite. You're just gonna run, like you're just gonna run around.
If there's edge cases,
And like the person who's most likely to run around is a jungler, and they're gonna have a speed buff, so they're gonna be better at. It's just like there's it. I think this one's a little bit more
Similarly, we wanna be doing
gimmicky,
that with. That's why we're flash testing all this stuff.
but I like
Big
all the
change.
other changes.
Yeah.
we are loading into games, so stall for me for 30 seconds or so.
Yes. This is just Conquest. I will say one of the things that was a big community request, which obviously this doesn't have, is a big art overhaul, right? As we've said previously, our environment art team has been working like crazy to get Joust and Duel looking sick for the January update.
Yeah.
I do believe it is looking sick, and that will be a topic of a future show this week.
Yes.
So we will be talking
guys hear that?
and showing off that map.
Joust
later
and
this
Assault later on in the
so
week.
it's exciting news. There's a lot of cool new stuff about that map as well. But didn't have the resources to update Conquest to be an all new art set and do Joust and Duel.
Yeah.
I think the question for us now as a dev team is like, is the next environment art thing we focus on a Conquest update, or is it we do a custom art Assault? Because Assault is going to be on a cut down version of the Conquest
Right,
map,
yeah.
as we've said previously. So still needed to decide that. Servers were being a little weird this morning
Yeah.
in our internal
took
testing,
about
so it's
this long last time.
possible that we won't actually get to run around and
Yeah.
show you.
No.
We'll keep it loaded here for maybe a couple more seconds to see if we can get it. But if not,
And maybe we just should go to aspects.
Yes, there's
and then
Arena,
come back to
Ginger.
Conquest, 'cause I'm
Let's
not
do
sure
that.
Yeah,
if
it's
this
like
is
you
gonna
just
load.
keep this going in the
First
background.
time viewer
let's
here?
see
Or would that be a pain?
I will
Wait,
pull up
but you haven't. That's not a
that
first time
we
message.
don't lose a whole lot of our time. I'm going to refresh because I know
Typed here
this
before.
presentation.
But yeah,
is
there's
not
Arena in Smite too.
developed.
Falcus the Horse.
And they just
Legion
announced. They
asks,
just said they're
"Do
going to
I
talk about
reach
Assault
out?"
and
Yes,
Joust
we
later
reach
on in
out.
this week.
That's why we do the show live. you know?
Call it out specifically. Nice.
Brother
I
Brett,
don't
thanks for the 5 months of the
necessarily
Prime,
read every
dude. Welcome
line
back to
because
the
I'm
Fonzo
trying to
family.
talk and
Appreciate
read at
that.
the same time. So
Skibbity
I'm not the
indeed.
best at multitasking, but we
Thank
do
you,
read
thank you.
chat. We
What's
do
up,
respond
Brats?
as much as we can.
Oh, shit.
Today we have so much to talk about though that we aren't going to answer.
That'd
any
be really
questions
cool,
yet.
Rogues.
All right.
But
let's
now
go
it's
through
time for something special.
Yeah.
Okay,
You can do the starting.
You want me to do that?
You're-
I'll do
you're
This
way better
this
at
is the
introducing
thing I'm most
people.
excited
yeah,
for. Like I said before,
I'm
chat.
getting excited.
All
Right.
right,
now,
cool.
I don't know. Okay, so introducing aspects.
Nice, Ma.
So one of the core goals of Smite 2 has been how do we give you new ways to play your favorite gods, sometimes in more roles, sometimes just different ways in the roles that they work at. This is one of the big goals of when we introduce strength and int scaling and we move power into active items that let you explore new builds and do new fun things with gods, right? We want to push this even further. That's the reason why we came up with the system in the first place. That's why
Yeah.
Clumsy came up with the
Yes.
system in the first place.
Clumsy's been
Clumsy,
cooking.
Clumsy has been pushing for this, and he,
Oh, well,
he
thanks, Ginger.
went through a
I
lot of
was just
different
messing
versions of this,
around.
but this is where we ended up. So, this system, the goal is to give players
everybody
a choice
focus up.
that alters their god's kit and enables new playstyles. A big element of this is that this is not a +1 on top of a +1.
You did,
Yeah,
Pierre.
that's
You
huge.
missed a lot of
Yeah.
good stuff. Thank you
There
for
is
11
a
months, dude. Welcome back to the
trade-off
Fonzo
for
family.
selecting an aspect, and we'll get into more of it in a second. But
Sorry,
I just
we
want to lay
can't
that ground
walk in,
rule at
guys.
the
Thank you,
start, right?
Pierre.
Because I think some of the earlier designs we were playing with was like, oh, well, do you have people can pick between
Give players a
different
choice that alters their god's
smaller
kit and
changes
further
on top
enables
of their
new
god,
play
you know?
styles.
And we were like, I think it's more fun and it's more interesting and it's more balanced if
These
it's
are not a
choice.
+1 on top of a
Whereas,
+1. There's a trade-off for selecting an
between, do you
aspect.
wanna play
So
the
it's not
normal
just going to
god,
be
or
OP.
do you want to play the aspect, which does something different, which we're going to go into.
What does it mean,
our
Jack?
expectation is
What
that
does it
both
mean?
The normal god
Tell
and
us.
the aspect will be viable for different builds, roles, and matchups.
Well, tell them.
So
tell
it's
you
not
guys.
like-
I know what it means.
We didn't want to. Normally, when it's like a binary choice between like, do you want this plus or that plus? People will say, "Oh, I want."
What's this guy talking about? Plus, this plus,
because
that
it's
plus?
Better.
He's talking about
in
fucking
the
math. This
pro
is Smite.
world, and I
We're
think
not in
it's better
school.
everywhere, right? So this should feel more like an actual choice.
Yes.
Yes. Yeah, absolutely. I mean, like you hit all like the main
Thank you,
bullet
Finn.
points, and I think it
Appreciate
just
the
really just-
34 months.
What were the different ways that we can push
Welcome back to
aspects?
Fonzo
And
Family,
we want to
brother.
make sure that they were role focused, they were playstyle focused. We wanted to make sure that we kind of hit a lot of different points for each of the gods that are going to be introduced for. And the trade-off thing, I think, is really important because we always want to make sure that when we're porting over the gods from Smite 1 to Smite 2 that we are still introducing these +1 features for everyone, right? And then when the aspects came in, we started using like, 2 different ones per one god, but that kind of diluted the idea of these +1s. And you started to having like, this Smite 1 ports over, but this aspect kind of had this one idea and the other one had the other, but we really wanted to just make sure
Said
that
two
everyone
Vagos
got
unlocked
something
in harder
interesting
than
and exciting.
Fort
And then
Knox.
this was just an additional way to play these gods on top of that if you want to, because sometimes maybe you just don't want to think about it. Maybe
Right,
it's too complicated. Maybe it's just not the way that you like playing this god, but someone else might like playing the god in this way, and that's kind of what this opportunity helped us get to.
Absolutely. All right. Well, I'm going to go on to the next slide.
Yeah.
Okay, cool. I wasn't sure how much else
Yeah.
this is.
So, do you want to talk through what they actually are? I changed your words a little bit, but I think
No, go for it.
Okay. So, what actually are they? So, this is an optional choice for gods. You will select during the god selection phase in the match lobby.
Yes.
You either pick the god with their normal kit, or you select the aspect, which has a trade-off. So it's binary choice. You're either normal god or you're the aspect version of the god. These aspects are generally going to focus on one or two clear components of a god's kit. We wanted to make sure that it didn't feel like a completely different god, right? But more that there's a big new twist on how you're playing the god and playing against the god.
January one, Piggy.
And I will say, like, there's somebody in chat says, this seems exciting. I worry
saw
from a
that too.
balance point of view, they'll always, without a doubt, be a best choice. I think when you see these, you'll see that they're intending to do very different things. So yes, there may become you're more likely to see a.
Why is
god
that
with
even a
an
bad
aspect
thing?
label.
Exactly.
But if you
Why would
wanna
it
do
be a bad thing if
certain with the god,
the
then you
newer
may
version is
want
better?
the aspect,
Like-
or you may want the normal
And
version.
this will be very apparent when it comes to some of these aspects. We're going to easily point to that one and be like, I have one in my mind. It's pretty early on. I'm like, you're not going to choose this aspect if you want to play the god in their normal default function.
So on the
If you wanna
initial
play
release
them
of the
in a
aspects,
different
only
role or
20
something, that
gods
may
will
be
have
the
them.
case.
So not
That
every
being
single
said,
god
Some of these
yet.
are playstyle shifters,
But they
not
are
role
planning
shifters.
for
We
every
need
god to have
we wanna
them over
spread those
time.
out, very
They haven't really
intentionally. And if
explained
that's the
exactly
case,
what it is.
It's okay. Items, gods, strength,
I
intelligence,
don't
whatever
want to
metas
be the
may
one to do it
shape,
yet,
These are just
but-
another balance mechanism that we can play around with. That is just going to be expanding what you can do as a player in Smite 2, and then we as a devs will make sure that like it's not going to feel stale. That's always the ever living goal in a free to play like games of service.
Oh, I should mention this really quickly because there's a question for this. How many diamonds will you
Right,
need to spend
like
to
Ruth.
get aspects? They're free. You're just going to get the aspects. This is not.
Good
You have
call,
to. You have to have
Peggy.
the
I need to
god.
drink some
If
water.
you have the god, then their aspect is,
Yes.
is unlocked. So
Yeah.
sorry, I didn't.
Yep, you have to-
definitely don't want anybody to think this is us trying to make money or
Appreciate it.
anything. No,
Cheers.
there's just
Yeah.
more ways to play the game. So
You have to tweet out a pet picture every time.
Yeah.
Let me see that on the TM.
Cool. Well, shall we start talking
Um,
about?
I think I had like
one more.
Go back. Okay,
sorry.
real quick. I will say
that's
on
great.
initial release, we're going to be shipping 20 aspects
Yes.
for so.
See some
half of
examples?
the
Yeah,
roster
that's the
will-
best way to
will have
explain
an
all this
aspect.
stuff.
And we
sure.
plan to add more over time.
They actually did edge us.
So
Who's gooning
just,
and edging in the chat?
Be
Yes.
excited. But
They
we-
missed the
we
aspect
wanted
of
to
their
start
job where
with
they
the
tell
smaller
us
group, and then we
things.
can take learnings from those and roll it out to the rest of
And
the roster.
the usual last preamble
Thanks,
as well,
Paul.
like, a lot
Appreciate
of
it,
these
bro.
are coming in. They're really exciting. There's going to be
Cooming.
some things, whether you see in the flash test or beforehand, that aren't fully
They're edging us.
finalized. Some of the numbers, some of the ideas you see here might end up getting changed.
Right.
That's just how
Sorry.
development works.
And the last thing I'm going to answer, just chat question before we get there, is how will you know?
Nobody
Do you
clipped
want to
that.
talk through where? I don't think we have any screenshots
We
or
might
anything.
not have a screenshot for it, no. But when you're in the match lobby, there's basically 3 different sections that you can see the aspects. In the match lobby, you'll be able to choose.
Surely
your
they
god,
just go
and
to the
once
next
you've chosen your god,
slide.
You'll be able to choose whether you want
Yo,
to turn
Leanne,
the
thank you for the
aspect
2
on or off.
months. Welcome
In
back
the
to the Pompo
actual,
family.
God
Appreciate that.
preview screen outside of the actual match as well. You'll
Thank
be able
you,
to
thank you,
click gods. You'll
W.
be able to see their aspects there as well.
W resub.
Right now, I think there's an issue where they might not work in jungle practice, but we're working on fixing that. And then when you're in the game as well, you'll be able to hit the tab or scoreboard, whatever keybind you have for that one, and you'll be able to see everyone's aspects, what they have, whether they have it on. You'll be able to hover and select over those in the scoreboard as well to see your teammates and the enemies one.
Come on,
but for
Clumsy!
seeing the enemies' perspectives, you won't be able to actually know until you're
Give
in the
him what
game
he
itself, and
wants,
that's,
Gary!
specifically designed that way.
Yeah. So, and as soon as you get in the game, you can open up the
Probably Mike's team
scoreboard,
or
and you can see what
Smoke
aspect
Break.
they have. You don't have to get vision of the god to see what
Exactly.
aspect they
Nope,
have.
that's
so
right there from minute 0.
Yeah. And then the idea is that, again, just to reiterate, every god, well, 20 of the gods will have
I like
one
that, though,
aspect to
Smoggy.
start.
Yes.
That's
then
fun.
we'll roll them out to the rest of the gods, and then maybe at some point in the future we could add a second aspect or
the
something.
system was designed to have more than one if we ever want to.
Yeah.
But we really
You hear
just want to
that?
make
System
sure
was
we
designed to
start
have
with
even
just
more aspects
one,
for each
see how it
character if they
goes,
want
and
to.
roll from there.
Yep.
All right.
Exactly.
We're so
All right,
close.
So let's get into
All
them.
right.
We're
Yeah.
so
Hurry
close. Get us
up.
there.
Slides for
On
all
her.
20 of these.
I'm gonna
So,
pull
yeah.
up our cams to see it.
Also,
God.
no one has actually
Yeah.
read through any of
Okay.
these descriptions and titles. So somebody,
I know, like almost all of these.
you know,
Some of them
Honor,
are
the
more
aspect of
interesting
pride.
than
Yeah, so
others.
This
This
one
one
is, so you're gonna see a little,
is
like,
fine.
blurb. This
I think it's
the same
cool.
Role, different playstyle. Honor Enfeeble, which is the passive, no longer debuffs enemies with that the shred, but instead dealing damage to the same enemy god will with your basic attack specifically will increase your attack speed per stack. Some of these give you an exact number of how much, but up to 100% bonus attack speed. So this is really like you're on her. You want to just be dueling the one person in front of you. You want to be just focusing down on that one person.
This one's, like,
but as
fine.
soon as you switch, you're gonna be losing that attack. speed.
This one, he's keeping like the same
Yeah,
role,
so,
just a different
again, this
kind of
is,
play style with attack speed.
I would say this is on the
I think the ones where it
lower end
changes
of
the role
craziness for
is
the
Oh, yeah.
craziest
This
of
is
really
a-
cool.
start off.
But
we would
we're
call
going
this one a
alphabetical.
simple.
Yeah.
No, we did, Parker.
So
This
it gives
one's
you an
really
idea
simple.
of
They
what
shouldn't
we
have
can
started
do
with this
here,
one.
right? So this is,
Yes.
again, you're still going to be playing that same kind of carry role.
There's
right?
some
It's
spicy
like,
ones.
How are you playing on her with this?
Spicier
is
the better,
different than the way
in my
you would have
opinion.
been playing on her before.
If you miss a basic attack, it's okay. But if you hit another god, I think, or any other enemy target, so even if you switch to an enemy minion, it will instantly remove.
Move
your
on.
stacks. You'll get like one lingering last basic attack.
Move on, guys.
And these stacks last like 4 seconds. They are short periods of time, but you can stack them up pretty quick.
The
and-
audience
Yeah.
is edging.
Yeah, as Tail Lover says, the shred is better.
Yeah, it's
for
alphabetical.
fights,
That's why they
aspects
start with
better
on
for
here.
dueling, right?
There you
How do you want to play?
And this is on enemy gods, so you're not going to be getting this bonus like on Gold Fury. I tried it; it was way too good.
All right.
Definitely
next
OP in
up,
duel.
We have Athena.
This is the one that I was talking
Spicy.
about. Right, so as you can see here, Roll Shift, Bruiser Jungler, Athena, the aspect of war, Defender of Olympus, the ultimate, now targets visible enemy and gods instead of allies. You don't
So
do
yeah,
any landing
Athena's
damage,
she
but while
just
you're
targets
tanking
the
on that
enemy
enemy,
gods instead
you
of her
also take
teammates.
increased damage. So
But this
is,
one, I
this
told
is
them,
not one you're
dude, I
likely
told
gonna
them this
pick up
isn't
on
going to be good
support
because
side,
it does no
but
damage.
maybe
If you're
you
trying to
will.
play
Maybe
her
you're
jungle
guarding
and you
one
go
defensive
full
goal.
damage
But if
Athena
you're
and your
going more
ult doesn't do any
defensive
damage,
Athena,
you're just going to
yeah,
ult in
now
and
you
int.
just- I choose you. I'm
So I
on
need
my
to do
way.
something else.
And you also you can no longer target allies. Right?
Yes,
It's not just
this is a pure trade-off.
Yes, so complete trade.
But it is cool. I think it's a cool idea.
Do you want to play this god this way or this way?
It does
right?
no
And this
damage
is what I'm talking
on
about. with
landing.
these, like it's not just like
It just makes them
+1 on
take
top of
increased
+1. It's
damage.
like, there's
There
a
are some
pro
cool
and
ideas
con
though,
to
like if
this.
you play like
And if
Nuwa
you're gonna
Athena
pick
and you
this
Nuwa
aspect,
ult for
it's
vision and then you
changing the
Athena
way
ult
that
to
you
the
play
like
game.
the split
Still the
pusher
god you know and love, it's
Exactly.
a big change.
Yeah.
All right.
And that
You
gives
just got
a good
vision up?
example between the
Yeah,
playstyle
you
shifts
probably-
and the role
you probably
shifts.
would, man.
Playstyle shifts maybe.
That's what
if
they
you
need to
love
do
Honor,
something
but
with
you
this
don't
one.
wanna think about,
I think it's a
like,
cool
just
idea, but
choosing
they
one
just need to
person.
add
You may choose
something
the
else to
default.
it.
If you're Athena, you want to play in certain roles, you may not choose this aspect, and that's okay.
Yeah.
It's
I think it
different
makes her
slices
less
for different-
And I
viable in
think we
jungle.
have a video
Actually,
of this
Ooh.
one.
Oh, you
we
put it in
do.
right. Oh,
I
nice.
put it in the
Okay,
right
cool.
place just because.
Awesome.
you'd rather have her
So, yeah,
her
you can see
current
there, I
kit
cut the-
for her current
cut
ult
off on my side.
as a jungler because it'll actually do damage.
Yeah.
There you go.
That's
You
it.
can't choose that ally, but you can choose that enemy.
Yeah.
And you're
So
on the way.
fun little
Yeah.
just shows you how it works.
Yeah, it's sort of like Trinibog ult.
And videos. Yep. Bacchus. I like this one.
Oh yeah, we just tried this out. Bacchus, the aspect of revelry, a little bit of a roll shift one here too, pivoting him more towards.
Will
the Bruiser
auto
jungle.
attack
After you use
Bacchus?
your chug while you have that buff active, your in-hand attacks cleave and deal bonus damage scaling with strength instead of protections for that short duration. So yeah, I would actually kind of
Fucking
expect
jungle
usually when I try this out
Bacchus?
in the jungle. You actually start maxing this out and going strength in-hand damage.
So basically, every time you chug, you
Or
get
if you want
AoE
that
autos
cleave
and
for
it
extra
scales off
damage
your
in the
strength.
solo lane. That's possible too, but remember, it's scaling off of your strength, not protections. So you need to be building accordingly towards that.
Yeah, it's pretty exciting. I love Bacchus.
Yeah, it's a
and
good
this
one.
is a
The Jockus.
this makes Bacchus solo a lot more doable as well. Like I know it's like we say bruiser jungler, like it does work.
That's
jungle, but,
Tolbakis?
Bacchus solo is.
That's Tolbakis
tried to
incoming?
make work a lot of times over the years, and now it kind of works.
All right, next up, Bologna.
Bologna, this one went through some pivots, but it went to
This
a
one
really
is
good spot. I was really
insane.
excited about this one. Aspect of Vindication. Roll shift more towards the support Bologna. Bludgeon no longer deals any of that final slam damage for accumulating enemy god hits during the spin, but whenever you gain block stacks from your sword and shield stance, or any healing from your scourge stance, nearby allied gods also gain
Go
those
full
relevant
attack
benefits.
speed
That
support
means
Bologna,
if you hit
and you
enemy
just
gods
give
with
your block
first
stacks to
ability,
all
or
of
if
your
you start
team.
basic attack them while you
So
have
you're,
that sword and shield
yeah,
active,
your
and
bludgeon
you
no
gain
longer
block
does
stats,
the extra
nearby
damage,
enemy gods and nearby, in this
extra
case,
bonus damage, but
ranged
basically you're just
basic
giving
attack
your
range. That's
benefits of like
820
your
meters.
1
And
stance,
this is
your
all
3
gonna be in the
stance to your
description.
teammates
We'll get to that
nearby.
in a second too.
So support
We'll gain
Bologna.
those block stacks, and if you gain some healing, they'll gain the healing too. So you can go like an attack speed, cooldown based support build.
These are
Would actually be
aspects.
pretty good.
Captain,
and what other
options
ones?
that you
yeah,
can,
so the other thing that's really useful
go
about
for
these
when you're playing a
aspects,
god.
going back towards the system
And
as well,
this makes
is
the
that when
game
you do
1,000
choose to
times
select the
better.
aspect,
So
your
if you hate
ability
this, you
tooltip
just hate
will
fun.
change, and all those descriptions and information will change for your abilities too. So if you were to see this one, for example, you'd hover over your second ability. The spot where it say like final.
Yo,
slam
thanks,
damage
Big
will
Meech.
just
Enjoy
be
your
gone.
work day,
That'll be
dude.
completely
Appreciate the 40 months.
replaced
Welcome back to
with
Fun
the new
Family.
information
W,
with
Big
the
Meech.
aspects.
Good to know. Good to know.
W.
All right.
Does a
all
lot
right,
of work from
next
the UI team,
aspect.
and
Yeah,
it's
this
really-
I just will say this is one of my
Yeah, these are
most
alternative
favorite
things.
ones.
These
I think
aren't.
it's
They're
just
not changing the character's
it's
base kit. This is an option you can
simple,
have
but completely changes
when you
the way
load into the
work.
game as Bologna.
Yeah.
Do you want to play
and
normal
it's
Bologna or
fun.
do you want to play Aspect of Vindication?
Turn a
Bologna?
nose.
Okay, this is my
Yeah, so
favorite
really
one.
Cool too. Aspect of Strife, roll shift, jungle bruiser here too.
Just read it.
Your basic attacks no longer fire ranged projectiles. They don't.
They
do
are
any
no
projectiles.
longer ranged projectiles.
Yeah.
You no longer have ranged projectiles as Kernanos.
But instead, your cleaving attacks from your heavy glaive do full damage to all of those cleave targets and apply all of the Shifter of Seasons effects to all the enemies hit. In addition, Horn Charge's cooldown is reduced by I think around 4 seconds whenever you hit.
Do you guys realize you don't have
So
range
the thing
autos?
that's
Your
important
melee
here as well,
certain,
'cause
but your
I've
one,
realized this with so
all
many
aspects of
different
your
masters and
one
pros and stuff.
proc
When you
with
do
your
the
melee
heavy
autos,
cleave,
it
like,
all
heavy
cleaves. It does
cleave
100% damage,
you're not doing
and
full damage
each
to all
auto
those
you hit
targets.
reduces
Also,
your Horn
if
Charge
you're
cooldown,
not
which
talking
is
about the
your
aspect,
dash.
The projectile of the basic
Jungle
attack is the
Cern
only thing that's
incoming,
actually
baby.
applying
Your one,
the
yeah, your
Shifter
one is
of
gonna
Seasons
one tap,
ability
slow them,
effects.
prot shred,
So this is completely
and then
new.
also you're gonna be
You're getting
dashing
cleaving,
around like
protection shred,
crazy
cleaving,
because every auto
bonus
is
damage,
reducing.
cleaving, slow cleaving heals.
Yeah.
Every
Fire
auto on an
beams
enemy god is
and-
reducing
and I
your
will-
cooldown of your
it's
dash.
not all
You're literally
of
just
the
gonna be
Shifter
melee
of
and
Seasons
dashing
effects,
around like
whichever one
crazy.
you have active is
Yeah,
applied
that's
to
a really
all
good point
targets.
too. Yes,
The
exactly.
wording on this is a little
Isn't that
confusing,
sick?
but yeah,
That's one of my
Some
favorite
might be-
ones.
I can
Probably
guess
my
that.
favorite one.
It's the
I actually think it
active
makes him
Shifter
viable
of
solo
Season
as well.
effect
I think it should
to
probably
all
just gonna be
enemies hit.
broken.
Right.
Exactly. Good point. Good point.
Yeah, not as busted as you maybe
Yeah.
initially.
All right. Next up,
Yeah,
we have Chalk.
it's pretty insane.
It's a simple aspect of
This one's kind of
fulmination.
cool too, even though it's super
same
simple.
role, new playstyle. I would still expect you
For
to see
sure,
this as
Moy.
some sort of damage.
Yeah, it is,
bruiser
Laney.
chalk builds, but Rain Dance no longer heals you. It damages you,
Yeah.
enemies instead.
It's that acid rain.
So you-
It's that
you
acid
don't
rain,
heal from
exactly.
Rain
So that
Dance
means
anymore,
if
it
you
does
use your
damage.
3 and it's falling around you, it's going to be dealing damage at the time.
I
But
think
also, if you
from
use the
testing it
one
was really
to create
bad,
the
but
rain
they can just
deployable,
buff it.
and you have your own one around you, you can double up that damage as well, just like you would be.
I didn't
doubling
even
up the
think of
demon
that. That's
effects. It's pretty good.
This is a very what is Jordan's?
Acid rain.
Yeah, I can't read it. It's
Just come in, Jordan.
Jordan.
Come
What are
in.
you saying?
What do you got?
Oh, try the
Okay,
queue again.
thanks.
Okay.
nice,
Yeah,
nice,
All right.
nice. Thank you.
Cool. Thank you.
Oh, it sounds like they can queue again. They have the servers working.
Yeah. So I will say this was of all of the aspects. Like we tried to think of other things for chalk, and everybody's like, the range should just deal damage. And anytime you ask anybody, they were like, the range should deal
Yeah.
damage. We're like, okay, the range just deals damage. I guess that's it.
Sometimes just it's a no-brainer. Like sometimes some of these are like really hard to come up with unique ideas, and sometimes it's just like, no, this is what you're doing. I'm like, oh, sick, easy.
Yep.
Yeah,
If
mid lane
people are
chalk,
joining late,
maybe.
Aspects are again, it's a choice. You're either playing the default version
And
of
it
the
has
god,
4
or you're
unmissable
playing
abilities.
this aspect shifted
True.
version of the god.
Yes.
So it's either you have the normal rain for chalk, or you have
Throw out 2
this
axes and you can ping
I
pong
know
TP.
this sounds really
That's kind of cool,
silly and
bro.
almost too simple, but sometimes you'll find it very hard to remember that you have some of these effects in the terms of like
January,
we were
Rico.
playing with one of the pros. I'm not going to name any names, and just like, oh, I forgot that I'm not going to heal anymore. Like that's
Yeah.
such a fundamental part of who chalk is. Although the passive now heals you a little bit.
Yeah,
so
chalk
maybe
passive
you need to
still
change
heals you.
Like if you still want healing, go Phoenix Shield, go Phoenix Time, like right, go these things that may be able to.
What if you just
push that side that
you can
you
just
may
play
be
chalk
missing,
mid, though?
but play into the new aspect. I mean, that's the main goal of these. Just don't forget what you're losing in these trade-offs.
Yep. All right. Next up.
Oh, that
we
could be
got
kind of cool,
Cupid.
Captain.
Cupid.
Cupid, the aspect
I don't
of love.
remember reading this
Heart
one.
Bomb's damage is decreased on both the initial hit and the AoE, but the enemy that's hit has reduced attack speed while it's on them, and the explosion area heals allies that are inside that explosion area. Also, if at 8 stacks of Love Struck, which is the passive, the allies in that explosion area also gain a health.
Okay, this one's kind of
so
cool.
this is really pushing that support Cupid, and now with arrows.
Support
though,
Cupid?
yeah.
This is really
Basically, you're
fully
reducing the
viable
enemy-
if
it's
it
not gonna be
wasn't
doing,
viable even without both of those things.
As much damage on
Yeah,
Heart Bomb, but it's
I
reducing
think
their
the
attack speed, and then it will
support
heal the
Cupid
allies that are near the
interesting
explosion.
angle for Cupid. Cupid and
And then it'll also give them a health shield at max
makes
stacks.
it even more viable.
So
I know
support
people who,
Cupid.
without arrows.
Support
bow
Cupid with
or
the
beast
arrows
that were
bow?
already trying it out, and I love seeing that. Like now you can really push that and it'll be even more viable.
That's great.
What's the trade-off? Why am I not
next
good
up,
with this? For
Danzaboto.
Cupid? You're not doing it
This
nearly
one's
as
probably
much.
wild.
this might be the wildest one. And I'm very very excited about it, just like I was to introduce that passive. So
This
aspect
one's
of
cool, too.
fellowship, same role. You're still gonna be playing as some sort of hunter. If you like that passive, you're gonna like this even more. The alluring spirits from his second ability no longer throws out the sake bottle, but instead you spawn 2 clones, one to your left, one to your right. Also, all of your clones, so from the 2 and from the passive, deal more damage and take less damage. So this is just the clone army
Clone build,
playstyle.
yeah.
You're
Yeah.
it's-
You're not
it's a
throwing
lot
out the
of trickery.
sake
It's
bottle, though,
almost
so
you can call it like an
you're
attack
giving
speed
up
stick,
a
but you're losing out to
non-DR
CC for it.
taunt.
You do gain that healing from the first part of drinking your sake. For
Which
it.
is,
He's not gonna.
I mean,
die
his
from
sake bottle is
Of
like
course,
really,
yeah.
really
So,
good.
but
So
it's
you
a
are
big trade-off because you're losing a great CC
You're giving up your
ability.
only base
You know,
CC.
CC zoning tool. It's even got that slow to it. But yeah, instant clones.
This might be kind of fun just like for memes, but I don't think it'd actually be that
Fenrir.
viable.
aspect of loyalty. We've known
Unless the
Fenrir
clones
can
are,
also
like,
kind of pivot
broken.
into that support role, so we wanted to play around with that some more. This one's a more
He's
on the
worse.
simple side.
That's not his actual
Brutalize
change.
third
That's
ability
that's
does
something you
less
can
damage,
play
but
as. You
applies
can
a
still play
stacking
base
slow per
Danza.
hit.
None of these are
Seething
making the
Hell
characters
second ability is
worse
the buff effect
because you
or
can still
decrease
play the
for you
character
specifically.
normally. These are
But
just an
so all
option.
allies are going to be gaining the buff effect now.
To
So
change
now
their kit a
everyone
bit.
around you is going to be gaining that strength and lifesteal. Everyone around you is going to be.
This one's pretty cool as well
stronger
for
just in
support
general.
Fenrir.
Yeah, and
So your 2 no longer gives yourself the
we
stats.
showed this to some
It
pros,
gives
they
it to
were
your
like,
teammates.
So would I ever not pick this if I was going to play?
And then your
support
3 also
Fenrir?
slows. You're
I don't know,
brutalized.
maybe
The
not,
3
but,
slowing is
maybe you
meh.
would
That's
not
whatever.
pick it,
But
you
the
know,
fact that your
it's
2 buffs
supposed
are
to
given to
make
your
it
teammates
clear
instead
that
of
Fenrir
yourself.
is a good support to players.
Wait,
that
are decreased but
maybe
applies
don't
one?
know
He's such a
this,
good-
Oh,
right?
okay.
Like
Before, I think they had it
one of
so
the things
Fenrir
that's
didn't get them
confusing
at all.
players
He
is
just
like,
gave them to his
how do I know
teammates.
that
Maybe
Fenrir
not.
is a good support for
But yeah, you're
players?
basically giving
Like,
them to your
well, now we
teammates.
have a role that
the
very clearly
stats.
says, oh, I can pick this aspect, and then it
Aspect
does
of
things
loyalty?
to my
Yeah, that
allies.
is a bit
That's
weird
great.
for
Okay,
Fenrir.
I'll do
He's
this.
not. He's sort of like
Next
the.
up on the aspect list is Geb. Surprise!
Oh yeah.
Sorry, I put
Oh,
a
I
little-
forgot about. Yeah, we haven't actually shown. them.
Surprise!
Yeah, so we haven't
they're
actually shown
showing
Geb yet. We
Geb.
are going to be showing off Geb later this week. He's got some.
They're showing off Geb later this week.
Geb is gonna
Okay.
be back later this
Oh,
And
this one was exciting.
Without
It came
spoil,
out
Geb is
losing it too
freaking
early.
cool,
This one's
dude.
fun, too.
They did some
But
cool
anyways, the
changes to
actual
Geb.
aspect
That's
of
all I'll say.
Calamity, kind of
Like,
leaning
that's
into
all I
that
can
Bruiser
say.
Nuka playstyle. Shockwave, the second ability, is no longer just a cone. It's a full circle and it deals full damage all around you in that big old circle.
Oh, yeah.
Additionally, the cooldown is decreased for every enemy. it
That's
hits.
such a cool change.
Real good.
Bruiser Nuker.
If you're doing this in
Fucking
lane, if you're
Nuker
doing this
Geb.
in non-conquest game modes, a little like spoil there that we've talked about. Yeah, you're hitting a lot of people. You're getting like 2-second shockwaves.
They call me Nuker
It's,
Geb.
it's a lot of fun.
I was
Yeah, I did, Buzz.
when we were talking with some pros about this. They were like, "I think
They're
Geb
so
may
fucking
have
cool,
played
man.
the thing," you know, and like they were just looking.
I
at
told
these,
you
they
guys
hadn't
this is
played them
why
yet,
this is
they
my
were like,
favorite
"Man,
the
Geb
favorite
may
thing
be
they're going for.
decent."
It literally solves all the
So,
problems I was talking about. Well,
it's
not
pretty
all the
sick.
problems, but the
You
major
gotta
problem I
try it.
had with
We gotta
Smite
see how
2
it
where
feels.
like all
A
the
lot of
gods
that-
just feel pretty
so one
much
of
the
reasons
same,
why
and it feels like
this
kind of
and
pointless
Conquest
to
are
be
the
porting all
furthest
these gods over that I played for
the
10
big
years.
patch, right? Is
But like
because
now this
you
gives
start
literally
flashing
basically
through
every
stuff
single god, at
now.
least the
Yeah,
20
yeah,
gods,
yeah,
and then
yeah,
more in the
right.
future, and
Like,
maybe even more
internally,
past
stuff
that.
can feel really
Having
good.
2 for each
And
god,
then,
like different ways to play them.
externally, people
Tons
can
of
find
content.
a slightly different build or a slightly different strategy of using
Even
it
if
that
it's a
makes
small
things just go
change, if
nutty.
it plays
So,
change their playstyle a little bit,
it's
it
really
completely
important
changes
to
their
get eyes on
build,
this
I,
stuff.
and it
I'm
makes it,
fully
you know,
expecting for us to need to like whether it's
give you so many
QA
more,
testing
like,
from you guys or
options
like
and
bug
cool
fixes
things
or
to
just
do.
balance fixes. These are a new component to the
These
game
are like
that we plan
these
to
changes are
obviously
like
be
the
supporting
changes
forever.
that I really
We're going to be
expected
looking to fix things, balance things, do whatever we need to do to make sure they feel good from now until all.
for some of the ports, you know.
Absolutely. Next up on the list is Hecate.
This one's pretty crazy.
This one is nutty.
Yeah, aspect of ruin, role shift, support utility. Let's add mages to like a play shift style. I've tried this in the mid lane a few times. It's still pretty darn good. Spell Eater, the second ability.
Oh, yeah,
can
I
no
didn't read
longer
this
be
one.
Refired. It doesn't do any of the charging mechanics that it does currently, but instead, everyone in the AOE, the enemy's ability damage is reduced, but also every time an
It's like
ability
old,
is cast
Nox
from
kit.
enemies,
They get
a
punished for
projectile
using
tracks
abilities.
and lands at their location.
And this
It's
projectile
pretty
is
good.
So they do less
dodgeable.
damage
It
in
is
the
dodgeable.
area.
It's
Her
a little
spell
bit
eaters
fast
are
right
2.
now. Flair
That's her
was like,
2
I have memories
ability.
of this one because I did play it and I did bully it.
So they
in
do
mid
reduce
lane.
damage in the area, but then they
That is
also
true.
take damage when
And
they
so
use an
The
ability.
way it works is that it
Projectile
was a
lands on
6.
there
This
and
is actually for
explodes.
Flare Boot specifically. It was 6 seconds. Now it's 4 seconds. I nerfed it. And there's a 0.5 second internal cooldown, which means at most there's only 8 projectiles flying. Only 8 projectiles
eight,
flying out.
come on.
over the
Dude,
4
that's
seconds.
sick. 8
But
projectiles.
it is spread out a little bit. And there's again,
Certain
there's a lot of
places,
balance
there's a
mechanisms to make
0.5
sure
second
that these
down on
feel
it,
better.
apparently,
And
Mike,
it was
but that's still
intentionally
pretty
designed
troll.
more of that support utility side. I think you can probably find
Certain
some
players
success with
clicking
it.
one will feel bad.
For sure. Next up on the list, Hercules.
Aspect of preservation. So this is to role shift him a little bit more to support utility side, which we have seen, but a little bit more on the healing and protective side rather than just being an aggressive one. Mitigate wounds, the third ability, no longer heals you based on the damage taken or provides any attack speed, but instead you gain a stack of mitigate wounds whenever you or an allied god takes damage from basic attacks. It's
pretty cool.
And when the ability ends, all
This is
those
for
stacks are
support
expended
Urk.
to heal yourself and the nearby allied gods. So really good into high basic attack damage.
You're basically like
Really
spreading
good
out
for
the
when you wanna
damage,
do this in
or
an AoE
like
to really
a
protect
little
your
spread
teammates.
absorption, and then you're healing
Not so
your
good in a
teammates.
solo like
With your 3.
stance, or if you just want like big bursts of healing.
A lot of
you
these
need to
help
think of it by yourself.
support.
So you don't
Mostly.
get the initial heal on pushing the button, but you are healed.
You
at
do
the
get
end.
you do
They
get the
love
initial
support.
heal, but you don't get.
It's just so much
the
easier to
heal
do
at the end based on
aspects for
damage
support,
taken,
it seems.
purely based on basic attack.
You just
damage
give
taken
people
from you and
heals, give
allies,
people, like-
and you also don't get the attack speed buff. So those are the trade-offs.
ally stats and stuff.
Who's next up on the list? I wonder.
Yo, Toaster, thank you for the 3 years.
Awesome.
Welcome back to the Ponza
Aspect of
family.
Laceration. So this is a rule shift, switching him to be more bruiser
Appreciate that,
damage
bro.
based. Abduct no longer pulls. You're not
W
taking anyone
for the
anywhere.
3 years,
Instead,
Finer
you and that
Toaster.
enemy are sticking right there in that same
Get some
spot.
W's in the
and
chat
Kepri
for
is slashing
Finer
that
Toaster.
enemy several times for constant basic attack.
So
damage.
Abduct no longer pulls enemy gods, but
a
roots
nice
them in
long
place with
hug,
you, doing
you
constant
know?
basic
And
attack damage
basic
for the
attack
duration.
damage, which means you
This one's kind of gimmicky. I think some of them are gimmicky and like silly,
It
but
is the
that's
thing.
fine.
You want to chin size them to death.
I don't think
you give
auto
them
attack
to
Kepri will ever be that
Yeah,
good,
this
but
is,
hey. You guys want to hear what my suggestion was for Kepri?
Did what?
Make his pull push people like Gilgamesh kick and stun them if they go through somebody. Make him be able to swap places with his 2. At the end of it, he can TP to it, and he could TP to the end of his 2, Rising Dawn. And then his ult, if he uses it on himself, he gets crazy steroids. Like he gets like 100 strength and like 200 int if he ults himself. And then boom, Kepri jungle viable because he can TP behind people and push them in a tower and push them into his teammates. And then he can TP, he has more mobility, and then he can get like crazy stats from ulting himself like a fucking kamikaze.
downplay that.
But they didn't like that idea
All right, next up on the list,
'cause they hate me.
Loki.
Loki, this one's wild. I'll have a little.
I feel like we've said that for almost every
I'll
one
have a
of these.
post-amble on this one. Aspect of concealment, roll shift, probably more towards the support.
I think this will be
utility.
pretty
That
bad.
being said, if you're coordinated with your teammates, you could probably do this in other roles too. Vanish no longer debuffs enemies you hit with that bleed attack. Instead, you stealth the nearest
I think
allied
this will be
god with
very
exactly the same kind of stealth as you yourself get. So post-amble. I think this one's going to be one of the highest like skill floor slash skill ceiling ones. I don't think this is going to be very easy to use for the
You may not know what to tell you
for
based
a
on
lot
the
of
red
cases.
post
That
running
being said,
game.
when you do use it, you do have a little bit of coordination and communication with people that are on the same wavelength as you. It'll be
Yeah,
pretty
this is just
crazy.
a
I can't wait to
shenanigan
see the
aspect.
plays with like actual coordinated team comps around.
Yes.
this.
Yeah, it is.
And
It is a good
it's
idea to not
always
add more
just the
CCM, bro.
closest allied god. You can't target it. If somebody accidentally walks closer to you when you push the button, too bad. It's the closest
That's
one.
right.
So there's
There's
little
no
bit
way
of
you think this
coordination to
one
use
is
it.
good, Mwack.
Again, you don't get the bleed on the vanish damage, so which is a substantial part of his damage. So
You literally,
might still be too
it makes
good,
your one
but,
not do
we're
any
pretty
damage.
excited about it,
Yeah, and
see how people feel.
just because someone mentioned as well, there is
Your 2
obviously
doesn't do
range on
damage
this.
on
It's not
Loki,
gonna,
and your
like,
1
travel
doesn't do
somewhere else
damage.
across the
How are
map.
you going to do anything?
In these aspect descriptions, because these are the same ones that you'd see in game.
It'll be fun
we
in
tried
a
to make
duo
sure
queue
that
for
they were
sure.
short and concise, and then when you actually
it
see
nearest
the
guide
ability
ally god
descriptions
to you
for the
map
moves that have
wide?
changed, you'll see a lot more information. You'll
That's
be
a
able
good
to
question.
Check the advanced
No, it's
tooltips
probably
and
just
pop
like
right them
you
to
have
gain
to be in an
information
area.
as well.
All right, next up.
It's one singular additional ally. Yes, God.
Next up, we have Mordred.
Mordred.
I think it
Aspect
just
of
doesn't do
rage,
damage.
Same role
Oh,
replace-
RS.
I double.
You
Oh,
double
yep,
Mordred?
that's right.
Yeah, sorry.
Okay.
Ignore the vanish no longer debuffs.
Yeah, maybe it's good.
It's okay. I probably know which one this one is. So this one is shoulder charge. No longer. Yeah, you guys are gonna have to listen real close this time. No reading. Shoulder charge. His passive no longer stops on the first enemy god. It goes through them, and it also doesn't knock them up. So that's actually I went backwards on it. It no longer knocks up enemy gods, but it goes through them and doesn't stop on them instead. Oh, also, because this is the main benefit, is that if you use an ability, it resets the cooldown of shoulder charge. So that means you can shoulder charge, use your ability 1, shoulder charge, use your ability 2, shoulder charge, use your ability 3, shoulder charge. Use your ability 4 if you've got it as well. You can get multiple
They
shoulder
left some
charges
text
all
there
in
for some reason.
one ability rotation. Pretty crazy.
Feel good to weave those shoulder charges.
Yeah, if you
in.
liked
Yeah.
ability procking items, well, this is the right.
This one's
aspect
really
for
cool.
you.
So basically,
Yeah, and
you're
the
not
look-
knocking
the
up
look
anymore,
text is
but
a
you're
typo. I
resetting
made
your
this
dash
slide to the
cooldown on
starting
Mordred,
right?
your
So starting
interact
where it says shoulder charge.
with every
So
ability.
Shoulder charge.
Oh, it's there.
yeah,
there is some of it.
back
Okay,
up,
sorry.
sorry.
I did it on top.
So you can
Yeah,
dash,
shoulder
hit an
charge
ability,
no longer
dash,
knocks
hit
up
an
enemy
ability,
gods,
dash,
but
hit an
deals
ability.
reduced
It's pretty
damage,
cool.
but now
Sort of like
passes
Arthur,
through enemy
honestly.
gods. Additionally, damaging an enemy god with an ability resets the cooldown of shoulder charge.
Yeah,
But
Kaden.
instead, stealth. Oh no, yeah.
No,
hit.
that's it.
There you go.
That's it. That's where it
Yeah,
stops.
That's it.
yeah. So apologies, I accidentally pasted that in the middle. of the Loki description.
No worries, no worries.
I
Next
am
up,
now fired.
Neat.
Aspect of Wind. Same role, new playstyle. Broken Weave explosions no longer root enemies. So this is specifically with the passive explosions. The ability one still will root. And the buff that usually lasts 30 seconds has a reduced duration. However, the attack speed that you gain from this buff is much, much higher. And additionally, if you use your ultimate...
This is just to make her more of an auto attack.
Provides you stacks of Broken
Base
Weave of this like attack speed
fine.
steroid immediately. So this
Some
is
of them are more
not
simple,
for need
it's
support,
fine.
but more for an in-hand basic
Yeah, we are
attack focus
tempera.
need, rather than like the ability focus need that you guys have been seeing for a long time.
All right, next up we've got Nemesis.
This is a crazy
For
one.
This
sure,
one's-
Caden, I agree.
We've been talking about this one. Aspect of Justice. Same role, new playstyle. Divine Judgment, which is the ultimate, no longer does any of the current HP damage in an area, but instead,
Guys, what
you
does this
choose
remind you
one
of?
single enemy god,
Perhaps
you hit them, and
it rhymes with
averages the HP between the two.
Matey
of you,
Meist?
as long as you have less than the target. Because I did need to mention that you are not
Any
going
Matey
to
Meist
healing
players
your
in the
enemies
chat?
if you're above health. You need to be below the enemy that you're
No,
choosing.
small
and then
pecker.
average them,
Aspects are a
both
thing
of
that
you
you
guys,
select
to
in the
center.
god selection screen
so
when you're
you
loading
can
into
get,
a game.
5%
You can play
hit
normal
points,
Nemesis, or you
and
can
you
play
target
Nemesis like
somebody
this.
at 100%
You
hit
can
Yep,
be the
and you
aspect
guys are
of
both going
Justice
to basically
Nemesis,
50.
Yep.
and then your ult will do this instead.
All right.
It's
Rob.
not a health swap though, because I know a lot of people have seen this from other games too. Many different ones. You are not swapping your health, because that would be that's real nutty.
Yeah.
Like, I don't know. I was not okay with that.
Rob
I think it would be
mentioned
fine if
another
you
one
swapped out.
Ambassadors
I don't
were
even
really
think it would
excited
be that
about.
broken.
Thermotherapy. It's the healing through
From other
through,
games.
heat. Yeah,
Oh.
so I was just like,
When I
this
when I
makes sense.
pasted that today, I was like, "What the hell
What
is
is
this
that
word?"
word?
Yeah, I don't know what this means. But
It just was so like on the nose that I'm like, this is one of the ones where I was like, I was just having fun with this one. Roll shift to support utility. Probably can still use
I
this in
mean,
the major role, but
balancing a
not as
MOBA,
easily.
if
Solar
your
Blessing,
goal
which
is
your
to
third
balance a
ability, and your
MOBA,
ultimate
MOBA
only deal base
at all
damage with
points,
no
like,
scaling, none of the current stuff.
I
So
don't
that's
know,
the big
it's
trade-off.
just like
You're
a
losing
silly
lot of
thing to
damage.
aim for.
In return, Solar
You should
Blessing,
aim to
the
make a
third
good
ability,
game, a good fun
can be
game, and
placed
try and
on
balance it
allied
along the way.
gods, attaching to them.
I feel like you're
including
afraid of
yourself,
making
and
changes
Searing
because you
Cane
think the
also
game will be
heals allies on hit. A
unbalanceable,
big important thing here is
then
that
you
Searing
kinda
Cane,
already lost, in my
during
opinion.
the channel time, you'll also be able to move your aim of this ability as well to make it a little bit easier to heal those allies.
That's a good one. All right.
Wait,
this is the one I wanted to.
did they
mention,
not?
just saying.
Okay, was that the one
From
where
the beginning, I was
Yeah,
like,
the
all
raw
right,
ult
let
heals
me
your
snipe
teammates
people
if you hit them with it? I think that's what that was.
Thanatos, Aspect of Reaping. Did I nerf this one? I think I nerfed it. Yeah, I nerfed this one. Okay, good. Roll
This
shift
one's pretty cool,
Bruiser.
too.
Harvester of Souls, which is the passive, no longer provides you any of the healing that you would usually get from God Kills and
Like, as long as your
Instead,
game is a,
you gain
constantly
permanent
updated game,
max health over time.
caring
We're
about,
talking
like,
about 1.5 from minions, which was
balance
nerfed,
too much is
and 25 from
bad.
gods. I'm saying those numbers specifically because I nerfed them because someone was playing it and it was really good from one of the pros. It was inbound, I think. Additionally, Soul Reap, which is the third ability, deals bonus damage and heals Thanatos based on your max health. So over time, you're gaining more bonus damage and healing using your third ability based on how many things you've been farming throughout the game.
All right.
That one's cool for like
Near
solo,
here.
little
I
Thana
I think
solo
this might
action.
be the last one.
And the last
Okay.
one is definitely a good one.
Yes, the Morgan, Aspect of Mischief, same role, new playstyle.
This one's
Confusion,
cool,
your third ability,
and reminds me
no
of
longer
someone.
stealths you, but now you can refire it and you swap positions to wherever the clone is. So as long as that clone is there, you are
Basically
going
just swap
exactly
places
there.
with
The
your
other really
clone.
cool thing about this one is that if you're channeling your first, so if you fire out your 3, you can actually pre-channel your first ability, so that when you're
Yeah, you can
refiring
like
swap,
pre-stun
you'll
them.
still have that
So if you
active.
click
can
one and then
immediately go to the
TP,
stunning
you'll
component.
like
We
stun
have a
them
video for
immediately.
this
Oh,
as
we do.
well.
Heck yeah.
Oh, they have
So
a video
I
for
cut
it.
them off a
Okay,
little bit
cool.
early. There you go. So there's the third ability, refire. Bang, you're right over there. But you're not stealthing. It's a pretty crazy trade-off. But heck, it'll be fun. The other thing with Morrigan as well, because
Yeah, it's
we did
Loki
check
from
this,
Marvel Rivals.
is that if you are a Morrigan and you use your ultimate to someone who has an aspect, it should copy that aspect. And I say should because I've seen a bug with it, but it will. It will ultimately. So Morrigan, you will have to keep in mind what the enemy aspects or
They do
teammates.
Thana, you no
aspects.
longer heal from your abilities,
Anyways,
but
I'll find out.
every like thing that you kill on the
So I
map
think that
increases your
the
max
first
HP,
20
and then your
aspects
3
that are
heals
gonna be
you.
in the game.
Yeah.
Only your 3,
There's
I'm
probably
pretty
going
sure.
to be some interesting things y'all discover when you start playing.
Absolutely.
Boom!
But
So those
we
are
wanna make sure
the
that you get 'em
aspects
in
that
your
they have
hands
in the
and
game
start
right
getting
now. They're
feedback.
gonna add
You know,
more.
if we need to make balance changes, we can.
But
if there's something that's
what do you
just
guys think?
stupid, broken, we can maybe disable it. If we have to, or make changes if we need
Yeah,
to.
absolutely.
They're gonna
We're
add
open
more.
to
They just
playing
have so
around,
much to
iterating,
work
fixing
on.
whatever
There's
we
like
need to
literally
do to
so
make sure
much
this
they're
system
trying to
goes good for you
do.
guys.
So the
And-
fact that
And
I
I
mean,
will say,
like if that wasn't in the game for January,
the
like I would
Vegas
be
Founders
kind of
Series
sad.
LAN,
But because that is
will
in the game for
play
January,
on
I'm like pretty
this
happy.
update.
That's
So
right.
they will be playing with aspects and on the new Conquest map and with everything else we're going to be announcing this week. So should be very interesting to see how they use.
They're
those
still adding
aspects.
more gods.
If there
Tuna.
is an aspect,
It's not slowing down their
that
gods
is
at
just
all.
busted, we will be banning a specific aspect and not the god entirely. So, but we'll We'll see. We're hoping
Fingers
there aren't any
crossed
busted
that-
at all, but there's always a chance.
They're
when you listen-
perfectly fine.
This
No
is-
issues whatsoever.
This is such a huge change for the game, right? Like we've heard people say.
This is the first Titan
like,
talk this week.
we've
Yeah.
talked to people about this, like holy, this feels like Smite 2 now, guys, right? Like this is a really big change for the game. We think that it's really fun. It does so much.
I think they should have gone the Hots way with spells choices rather than this halfway. What does that mean, Ryu?
We're stoked. So this is really fun. I can't wait for you guys to play with them.
I know.
Yeah, and now that we've talked about them, I can finally say that.
Change how the gods look in
I
game?
would
Maybe
love,
slightly.
You guys have just
Some of
like
the
you did for normal
animations,
parts of the game,
probably.
If you guys have ideas for aspects, if you guys want to, what's the Reddit thread? Talk about it on X and Twitter and stuff like that. Drop by my stream. You guys can totally
Shameless
do
plug.
that. It's always really exciting to see what creative solution. A lot. We
Doesn't affect
saw
base
the
stats, something like
ambassador
that.
for several-
Well, in Smite
ambassadors
2,
for
base
several
stats
games,
really
so,
aren't that different from
internal,
god to god.
Self ideas. This isn't. It's always a team project, and that includes you.
Like
includes you
Raw's
guys, the
base
community
stats
too, so
compared
please,
to Kepri's
we're
base
excited to
stats
see
really
what we can all cook
aren't
up
that
with together.
drastically different.
All right. Well, do we want to go in for conquest, or we want to just talk about item balance?
Let's run through the balance first,
Yeah.
and then we'll run around to the map if that's
Yeah, let's do that.
okay.
I'm
so
bringing up the
we just have
handy-dandy
a
laptop.
little bit of
Just a
balance,
little bit.
because we're not
Oh, I don't know about this part.
I'm not the balance genius, but I wanted to make sure we talked a little bit about generally how we're changing balance heading into this update. First thing, strength items generally just don't.
Yeah,
feel as
I
good
think
as
if they did that,
items.
people would complain it'd be really
So we're
hard.
gonna make
like,
sure they feel a little bit more.
Smite's
fun,
more of like a
right?
casual game.
Second thing,
It'd be really hard for people to understand like what
some of
people are
them
going in the middle of a
don't
game.
feel as
So with the
impactful
aspects,
as they
like
could.
you can click
So
tab,
we're gonna change
you'll be able to see in the loading screen and when you click tab what type of character or what type of aspect they're playing. So whether it's like regular Fenrir or the more of support style Fenrir, or whether it's regular Cern or maybe they're gonna try jungle Cern with the melee aspect. So like you're gonna know like going into the game so you can prepare for it. If you could just like change it in the middle of the game or like do different play styles in the middle of the game, I wouldn't mind that. I think that'd be cool as well. But I think Smite's more of a casual MOBA. It'd be a lot harder for that's when people would have good criticism of like, oh, it's gonna hurt new players a lot. I don't think this hurts new players much at all. Like the changes for the character's kit, some of them are cooler than others and more drastic, but for the most part, like you can just still play the character as you want to play them. And if you are a main of a character, you say you love regular Cernanos, you've been playing Cernanos for 10 years, or however long he's been in the game, and this whole time, like he's been your favorite character, you can still play him like you want. But this just allows other people, maybe other people didn't really like Cern. They never really tried playing Cern, never really enjoyed his kit. Now maybe there'll be a Cern main because they can play in this play style, and they think it's a lot more fun. I think it just opens up the game so much. So much
basically,
more.
strength is going up on a lot of items.
And for every new player experience that it hurts, for the fact that there's too much stuff to learn for a new player,
below the threshold,
it gives
and the stacks and lifesteal
loyal
per stack
players
strength per
and
stack has
a bunch of
changed.
people who just
But the total
want to try out
amount
different like
is the same
characters and
stack
stuff like that,
size.
and
So
different
basically, like,
different ways to
stack it
play
up, but
characters in a
it's easier to
third-person
stack it up,
MOBA.
but you gotta
It
get
gives you
used to
so
it,
much
that
more
fits your
content and so much stuff, so much more stuff to sink your teeth into, and like
I don't know if I need to read through all of these changes because
I don't know. There's just it just opens up so much.
Avenging Blade,
in my opinion.
does have an issue where the slow was applying.
Like, don't get me
less
wrong,
slow than was
it
intended,
can be a little bit
and
daunting
the protection reduction was applying
for
its
people to
damage
understand
correctly, which
if there's going to be 50
is
characters in the game. Well, there's
nothing
technically
Oh.
100 if every character has an
Right, and we got
aspect.
another slide with
But
even
like
more.
at the
Yeah,
same
this is
time,
gonna
like
be
it's
more
not going to
exciting,
change
yeah.
them that
Okay,
much.
so
You're still
Avatar's
gonna
Parashi,
like if you're still gonna understand
now
what
has
Thanatos
more of
does
an active strength
with his
bonus.
base kit
You
or
are
his
now
aspect kit.
displacement immune
You're still gonna
following
understand
Avatar
what
Parashi's form.
Hecate
The
does
big
with their
thing
base
to
kit
notice there
or
is really talking
her
about that
aspect
gold
kit. There's gonna be
cost,
slight
variance
changes,
between
but,
this.
like-
This is going from 2,700 to 3,700, but that's because the item is now dummy good.
It is
So that's
real
like if
good.
you're going for
Sorry, I
strength,
missed
you
some of
really want to
this.
be hitting enemies. You know that this is just the right item to buy late into the game, but you are not buying the sub-second item.
Yeah,
What
safer
the
game
heck?
model on
Exactly.
Oh, I actually didn't see these, so
Yeah,
we can
another
read
one of
these
those
together.
luxury items that we were talking about, right? And huge int, huge active int bonus on top of that, and again, you're displacement immune while in Dreamer's Idol form.
Yeah.
Eye of Providence. Now, if you kill the ward, it gets you 50 additional gold.
Yeah.
Nice.
So,
That's kinda cool.
And it's in addition to the active is remaining in addition to the new passive effect. So maybe a really good support item if you plan on clearing a lot of wards. Jade Scepter is now also going to make enemies that are hit by it.
Yeah,
lose
you're right,
25% strength and intelligence. We still have.
They said they were gonna do a-
effects, but they're slightly better.
So it's like previously
Flash
really good to
test
get
today,
people off
so-
you or do whatever you need to do, but now it's also going to debuff them as well. So if it was that movement wasn't enough, well now maybe they'll be persuaded to leave. Leave me alone.
Damn, Lifebinder is a short cooldown.
Lifebinder cooldown from 30 to 15 seconds. Huge cut in half.
Yeah,
That's
that's
pretty
massive.
massive.
I mean, most active
Gargoyle,
items
same
should be
thing
low
as Jade
cooldowns, in my
Scepter.
opinion.
Enemies hit well, not exactly, but enemies in the area will lose 25% magical and physical protection, and increase the magical protection on the item. Phoenix Feather, decreased cooldown. This is really good, guys.
Yeah.
Like the cooldown was super long, but if the cooldown gets too low on this, it's going to become a must-buy item.
Yeah.
So we'd rather move this a little bit in the right direction and then see, do we need to move further?
Yeah,
Right.
cooldown was super long as well because we're all just like, this is a really good item, and one day people will realize. It's
Yes.
like, okay, now they better realize.
Yes.
And it also now pulses out a ring of fire around you on activation that deals damage equal to 10% of your max HP as true damage. And if you're playing Thanatos, then you can stack up your max HP, and then it just goes crazy.
Oh,
So-
exactly. I love it.
Yeah, so fun stuff. Stampede, now instead of gaining 30%, I believe that's movement speed instantly, you now gain 60% that scales down
I
to 20%.
love that. So now you're going real fast, and then
Yeah.
it's like
Quick
getting
zoom
off
that
over
slows
time.
down.
Kind of like Cuckoo too.
Yep. And you and any allies with this effect are slow cleansed, slow immune, and gain 20% attack speed for the
Nice.
duration.
That's
real
good.
good. You should try building it. Dagger of Frenzy, decrease the basic attack damage from 40 to 10 plus 2 per level. Change the duration from 6 seconds to the next 5 basic attacks, which is pretty good. Make
Yeah.
sure that you actually get value out of it. And decrease the cooldown from 30 seconds to 15 seconds. Getting a kill on a god immediately resets the cooldown.
That's real good.
I see somebody asking, well, what's the point of Hasar's wings then? Oh, just you wait, my sweet summer child.
Wait.
Oh my god, Phoenix Feather.
Yeah, Pon says, just wait.
Yeah.
Okay, and then next slide.
Oh,
passive
no.
and general items updates. I believe Hasar is on here. I'm just going to
Yes,
go to that
there
one
it
right
is.
now. The active has been replaced with the passive. The passive, you are immune to slows.
Yep.
If you don't want to be slowed, build Hasar's wings.
But
That's
yeah, you think that's just like the obvious ubiquitous buy to buy all the time. It's also shifted in its price. 'Cause It's got 25 to
You're
40,
immune
25
to
30,
slows?
It's a really good stat stick item now. It's gonna cost you 3,000 gold, so that is pretty important.
What
to
the
remember
hell?
too.
I'm always
3,000
buying
gold's
that.
a lot. It's a lot. So, yeah, let's see how it goes.
You're
Okay,
permanently
backing
immune to
up,
slows.
Kin size, decrease the max health damage from 4% to 3.5%, but now deals an additional 4% of the difference between the user and target's maximum health.
Right,
I don't know how
okay.
to interpret that, but I assume it's good.
Right.
Kind of like the Nemesis.
Kin
aspect.
size, bro.
Height of
You're
the
doing
melee,
extra damage. The
increase
less health
basic
you
attack
have and the
reflect
more health the
damage,
other person
and
has.
Increase active reflect damage and increase duration. So if you want to reflect some
As
damage,
if I needed to feel
it's
any
better
less
at it.
tanky in Smite for the
Yogi's
past 10
Necklace,
years.
Now
Now they're giving an item
decrease health
to
regen,
squishies
but you
that makes
heal
them do
0.5%
more
of
damage
your
to the
maximum
tankier
health and
person in
mana
front
per
of them.
second. That sounds like a Smite 1 item that I know and love. So maybe build that. Wish Granting Pearl. The cost has gone up a lot.
But
Yes.
it's a beefy stat stick. Oh
But
my
it is
goodness.
a beefy stat stick. So definitely
Just
give that a
double
try.
everything.
Yes.
Wish
Titan's
Granting Pearl
Fang,
30,
more imp,
550,
shield,
increase in from 80 to
increase
120,
strength on
increase
the
health from
passive,
250 to
Leviathan's
500,
Hive,
increase mana from
increase
150 to
physical protection,
250.
Sphere of Negation, increase the cost
120
by a
int and
lot.
500 HP.
Oh,
but
but
increase the
over
magic protection
Oh my
from
God.
40 to 1.
And all it gives you is
We're
stats?
definitely negating that magical
I don't
damage.
think that'll be
Yes.
good.
So again, this is the idea of the luxury items we're talking about, where you
Yes.
get late in the game.
I like these
there's
luxury
something you
items
spend gold on,
ideas, though. Especially because
Elixir
there's not a
Strength
lot
and
to do
Elixir
late game in
Intelligence.
Smite 2
These
right now
consumables
with your
now
gold.
stack their effects with subsequent
Yeah.
purchases
If you
of the
didn't
same
want-
elixir. So keep buying more of the elixir, and you keep
Exactly.
stacking.
If you weren't sure what to spend your money on, like previously, if the
Consumables
game
now
was getting
stack
too
their
long, or
effects
if
with
you,
subsequent
thought
purchases of
you
the same
had too much
elixir.
gold, you're just really doing well. Now you know. Now you have a lot of things.
I
to do.
mean,
Yes. And you
That's
have choices,
fine.
right?
Yep.
Choices
Exactly.
Kinda
are great.
boring,
We've given
though.
you a lot of choices here.
like,
This is
I'm not going to be
insane. Yes,
excited
it
to
is
buy
insane. We're
another
insane.
3
But
cards
we're-
just because
We're
they're giving me
insane.
more stats.
Crazy.
There should just be more options late game to do different things. Like a potion
awesome.
that instantly
Relics,
revives me,
so
or a
we have
potion that
decreased
lets me like
cooldown of
sell my
beads.
build or sell my starter to get another
So
like
maybe beads is
or
good.
like
I
random
don't know.
shit like that, or
And
like
for
tier
Phantom
4
Shell,
items
we've
like in
decreased the
Deadlock.
cooldown
Stuff that
and
you could
increased
really
the
save up
shield health
for.
from 80 plus 15
Which some
per
of these
level to
are, but
100
like
plus 15 per level.
Yes.
Sounds good.
Yeah.
I think that might be it. Oh no, we have more. There's new items. I forgot about the new
I
items.
know, right?
Yeah. A couple new ones.
Chad has been telling us that the number one thing that hunters need to be viable as traditional basic attack hunters is dominance.
Yes.
So we brought dominance back. But it's a little bit different.
That item is
It now has a
amazing.
passive
50 strength,
that
200
deals
mana, 4
bonus
mana per second,
damage
and
as if
50%
they had
attack speed.
20% less
But what does this
protection.
passive mean? Deal bonus damage
It
as
should
if they had
effectively
20%
do
less
the same
protection.
thing as giving you the
Why is it worded like
additional
that? I mean, I understand what it
20%,
means, but like, why is it?
Like protection shred, but it just works. Like mathematically, it should be pretty similar, but this was just the easier way to
Yeah.
get it to work in Smite,
Smite
2
2,
with the,
yeah.
what we had right now. So that should give you a very similar feeling. Obviously, Odysseus' bow, everybody knows it.
Yep.
Classic item. Same thing that it does in Smite 1. It's a just bucket of attack speed with
Nice.
every fourth successful basic attack marks lightning at 4 targets, deals damage equal to 15 plus 60% of your basic attack damage. And an all-new item, Learning Bow. It costs 24.
Your reply to
it's
my
40
tweet.
strength, 30% attack speed, and has an active.
Why doesn't it just
fire
say
a poisonous
ignore
arrow that
20%
pierces
of
all
your
enemies
target's
8.8
protections
meters
or
in front of
something?
you, dealing 130% of your basic attack damage.
And then they
physical
brought back
damage,
Oboe.
and inflicting them with 40%.
Wait, what is this?
reduced
40
healing
strength,
for 4
30%.
seconds.
Fire poison that
This
pierces
arrow
all
can
enemies.
critically
8 point
strike
dealing
and passes
100%
through
of your
walls.
basic attack damage.
This
Physical
area,
damage and inflicting them with 40% reduced healing for 6 seconds.
ADC,
This arrow can critically
That's
strike
right.
and
We
passes
needed
through
an anti-heal
walls.
item for hunters.
Dude, they need more active
missing
items for
area,
hunters, so this is cool.
So buy
It's only
it when you
20-second
want it.
cooldown. 130% of your basic attack
Yeah,
damage.
and people that are really concerned with
That's
like,
pretty good.
those stats